The October wind howled across Hollow Creek, rustling dry cornfields and carrying the faint scent of rotting pumpkins and fallen leaves. Halloween had always been eerie in this small town, with its crooked fences, sagging porches, and flickering jack-o'-lanterns. But tonight felt heavier, as if the shadows themselves were waiting, watching, waiting for someone to cross the line. For friends, Sarah, Jason, Emily, and Mark walked down the cracked pavement toward the abandoned Mallory house. The house had been empty for decades, its windows shattered, paint peeling, and doors warped by time. Local legends whispered that Old Man Mallory had vanished one Halloween night, never to be seen again. "I swear I heard kids screaming from this place last year," Emily said nervously, tugging her coat tight. "Yeah, right?" Jason replied, trying to mask his own unease with a grin. "Ghost stories. Don't believe in that stuff." Sarah led the way, flashlight cutting a shaky path through the shadows. The front steps groaned under their weight. One by one, they entered the house, and the air inside hit them like a wall, stale, damp, and heavy with the scent of mold. Broken furniture and cobwebs lay scattered across the floors, and a grandfather clock stood silent, frozen at midnight. "This place, it's worse than I imagined," Mark whispered, stepping carefully over a broken chair. Jason rolled his eyes. "Relax, it's just an old house." But as they moved deeper, a chest in the corner caught their attention. Unlike everything else, it appeared untouched by dust or decay. The wood was dark, carved with swirling symbols, and a rusted clasp held it shut. Sarah approached, her heartbeat quickening. She pressed the clasp, and with a creak, the chest opened. Inside lay a mask, dark leather, jagged teeth carved into a permanent grin, and hollow sockets that seemed to breathe. A faint red glow pulsed beneath its surface, like embers in dying coals. "That's creepy," Jason muttered. Sarah felt an irresistible pull. Without thinking, she lifted it to her face. Instantly, the house seemed to shiver. Outside, jack-o'-lanterns flared bright. The temperature dropped, and the faint whispers of voices brushed against her ears. "Who dares wear my face?" She yanked it off. The mask hit the floor, breathing almost alive. The whispers grew louder, circling the room, as if the walls themselves were speaking. Jason ran to the front door. It wouldn't budge. Thick black veins spread across the frame, sealing them inside. Emily's voice trembled. "We shouldn't be here. We need to leave." But it was too late. The mask's pull had begun. Sarah's thoughts circled back to its jagged grin, her fingers twitching uncontrollably. She could almost hear it laughing, promising something she couldn't resist. Shadows thickened, stretching unnaturally, and from the deepest corner, a figure emerged. Draped in ragged black cloth, its face was the mask itself, glowing faintly red in the dim light. Its grin stretched impossibly wide, feeding on the fear in the room. Jason swung a chair at it, but his attack passed through the figure like mist. The mask of midnight advanced, and the whispers became screams. "You are mine." Sarah's mind teetered on the edge. The mask's voice filled her head, offering desires and ambitions she had never dared speak aloud. She saw visions of herself wearing it forever, her identity erased. Her friends terrified, screaming for her to stop, the house collapsing around them. Amid the terror, a memory surfaced. Her grandmother's warning, repeated every Halloween. "Fear only has the power you give it. Stand, child, and face it with what's real." Sarah's eyes snapped open. Her fingers clenched into fists, breaking the invisible pull. She lunged for the chest, heart pounding. Mark raised the fireplace poker, Emily and Jason flanking her. Together, they smashed the mask onto the hearth. Sparks flew. The leather bubbled and cracked. The whispers became shrieks and then silence. But the horror didn't end. The house seemed to exhale. But now, subtle movements hinted at lingering life in the shadows. Broken frames trembled, floorboards creaked, and the walls whispered Sarah's name. Outside, the world seemed normal again. Streetlights glimmered, children in costumes ran past, laughing. Hollow Creek had returned to its sleepy calm, masking the terror inside the Mallory house. Weeks passed. Life returned to normal, but the friends noticed subtle changes. Shadows seemed longer. The whisper of the wind sometimes carried a familiar voice. Sarah's dreams were invaded by the mask, visions of herself trapped, consumed. She couldn't forget the sensation of it trying to fuse with her skin, her mind, her soul. On the next Halloween, curiosity and dread drew them back. Sarah approached the house first, peering into darkened windows. A flicker caught her eye, black leather, jagged teeth. Her pulse quickened. She remembered the whispers. "Who dares wear my face?" The four friends regrouped. This time they came prepared. Salt, iron, and protective charms. Old family heirlooms and town legends combined into a desperate defense. Inside, the shadows waited. The mask of midnight had grown stronger, feeding off the fear they had carried for a year. Its form flickered and solidified, eyes glowing red, grin stretching wider than humanly possible. The house itself seemed alive, responding to its power. It lunged at Sarah first, whispering promises of power and desire. Jason blocked its path with a chair, Mark held a makeshift spear, and Emily threw salt in its direction. The mask recoiled, shrieking, but the power was immense. Sarah realized that the only way to destroy it was to confront it directly. She raised her voice, demanding that it release its hold, speaking truths she had avoided. Her fears, her regrets, her guilt. The mask hesitated, the whispers faltering. With a final effort, she grabbed the mask and forced it into the hearth. Mark, Emily, and Jason joined, striking it repeatedly. Sparks flew, leather bubbled, and the mask of midnight let out a deafening scream before cracking, splitting, and collapsing into inert pieces. The shadows recoiled. Silence fell. The friends collapsed, exhausted, gasping for breath. They had survived, but the memory would haunt them forever. The Mallory house seemed empty again, yet the faintest red glow flickered from one cracked window, like embers waiting to reignite. From that day, they never spoke of it publicly. The mask had left its mark on them, a reminder that fear can manifest into something real, something hungry. Each Halloween, Sarah felt it stirring in the wind, waiting for the next soul foolish or desperate enough to pick it up. And in Hollow Creek, as night fell and pumpkins flickered across porches, a faint whisper traveled through the autumn wind. "Who dares wear my face?" Sarah shivered, quickening her pace. Deep down, she knew one truth: some darkness never dies. It only waits,